family, and he gets so mad at her for like dancing with the British captain that there's a part where he just spends a week not talking to her, chopping wood.
Oh yeah, that's what men do. Come on now.
Yep. And to prove how cool he is and how little he cares, before he angrily stomps into that frame and grabs her hand and pulls her down the hill towards that like Irish landscape backdrop. And the captain like puts his hands on his hips in the foreground, revealing his cutlass, being like, what is this guy doing with my woman? And, and that is when he, pulls out the handkerchief or whatever. And you were sharing your intimate garments with your cousin. Your backwards Irish ways are offending my proper British sensibility. And he throws like wine in his face, and they get the second duel of the movie, the one where Barry actually challenges the captain to a duel due to this sort of like jealousy. And it's very funny that he's a boy, so he's kind of like scared shitless. And there's that great like ominous drum sounds over the slow zoom of them like loading their guns for the duel. And there's almost this morbid sense of humor about how stupidly life or death this period was. Oh, yeah. About, even one guy comes up and be like, this is silly business, my boy. And Ryan O'Neal like literally is just like, he's stubborn. He's like, fuck you. I don't care if I'm a farm boy. I'm going to go toe to toe with an actual trained military man because I'm horny for my cousin. Fuck you.
Well, yeah. I guess nothing makes him any more determined, but horniness for his cousin. Because this guy, honestly, it read to me like he had almost no fear going up to the captain, and the captain was the one that was just like kind of shaking in his boots.
Yeah.
Like, determination it changes. Of this young kid.
I think O'Neal is scared and you can see the captain kind of smirking when he realizes that the kid has kind of realized like what he signed up for when they're like loading the guns and bringing him the guns. But as soon as he delivers his little speech or whatever it is, where he's like, why don't you just say you're sorry to him or something? He's like, I'm not sorry, and I will not apologize, and I'd soon go to Dublin as to hell. And that is when he goes, okay, this kid's actually like, maybe he's stupid,
this kid wants
but he is like, he's gonna commit to the bit, yeah. And he's gonna shoot me to death.
What I also love too is that again, there's so much patience, there's so much buildup with all of these duels and all of these moments of actual violence, but when it does finally hit, it is something to be said about like when they scream before they're about to die. Like the captain is kind of like struggling a little before he passes on. And there is something like having that lead up, that silence and patience, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, life is leaving. This is actually terrifying, and we're back to normal again. Back to the calm, kind of just meticulous movie that we've been watching. It's just very effective. It's like the violence is kind of quick in this movie, but because of that, it is very effective. Not to say there's not some stuff in the middle, because they do eventually get into some wartime stuff, which is cool that he has that.
Which is also deployed in a kind of cruel, ironic fashion, which is kind of like I get part of what I like about it, because I mean, so much of this movie at a certain point is, he gets into this duel. He ends up, what he believes anyway, shooting this British army captain over his cousin, and everyone going, you're a fucking idiot that you just did that. Like, the British are going to just fucking hunt you down and kill you for doing that. So you now have to leave your cousin anyway and go run to Dublin. And on your mom's like last 20 guineas that she has in your pocket. And you're lucky that you fucking won that duel in the first place anyway, because you probably never even fired a gun on like this actual British army captain. And the rest of the movie is the consequences of that, and like the decisions and weird scenarios he finds himself in as a result of that. Because I mean, the movie, I think, explains, like, really does instruct you how to watch it when you do get this painterly, patient beauty, and then you get something so funny as like the moment when he gets on that horse and I'm heading to Dublin, Ma, and I'm heading on an adventure, and it's the start of an adventure story. And it's an exciting prospect, Barry. He's confidently riding away, and he's like, I'm going to go start a new life, and who knows what kind of antics I'm going to get into. And he is within 60 seconds, he's robbed, and he loses his father's sword, his pistol, his horse, all of his money. And even the robbers are like, you know, who it's the highwaymen named Captain Feeney and his son Seamus. I love that they even name themselves. They're the most like proper like robbery men I've ever seen.
Polite robbery I've ever seen in my life.
It's so incredible polite. Because they generously leave him his boots because they were like, your story is quite intriguing and touching. That you are like on the run, you know, due to being in love with your cousin or whatever. It's a very strange, very specific story. We believe that you're not making it up, but yeah, unfortunately, we're still gonna steal all your shit.
Yeah.
So, and I like, except for your boots.
And he seems to have, I don't know if it's just like his lack of experience in the world or something. It seems to imply that with that very long shot that Kubrick does of him beside the horse as it's trotting up to the man that isn't facing him. And it's for a long time. You'd think like, okay, either this guy is staring off into something or he is kind of setting me up for some type of ambush, but he just kind of like intrigued. He's intrigued and just goes with the horse and it's just like, hi there, turns around, he's double barrels, like 2 guns in hand, ready to rob the guy. But it did seem like there was something strange about the approach of that, like how long it takes, how he's already stationary, ready to rob him and not hiding or anything like that. It seemed too easy, I guess is what I'm saying, for Barry to get robbed.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's part of the sort of hapless nature of the character, I think, a little bit. Like, right. There's something so, again, the material seems so